Welcome back to Webcertain TV. I'm Gemma Houghton. Today I'm joined by Sergey Ustinov, who's head of operations for Yandex in China, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about the Chinese market and operating out there. So hi Sergey, thank you for being
Gemma.
here.
Thanks for having me.
So it's very well known that China is a hugely different market to the rest of the world, really, that Google, Facebook, all of the platforms that we know and love in the West are just not even available there. So firstly, to start with search, what is the search landscape like in China at the moment? Which are the players you should be thinking about?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much exclusively Baidu. There are other players, but their market share is a lot smaller than that of Baidu. So usually, which is common knowledge, everyone, when they think of China search market, they think of Baidu.
And what should advertisers, should marketers know about Baidu if they're thinking about targeting the Chinese market?
I mean, we're talking about 660 million monthly active users just on mobile for Baidu. So it's good to mention that in China, mobile users are actually exceeding those of desktop users. So basically all you need is to look at the mobile numbers, and 660 million is a big one. Yeah,
nobody's going to complain at that size of an audience.
Exactly.
And how different is Baidu from Yandex, from Google? Is there anything that really makes it a different kind of operation to those search engines?
I mean, a search engine is a search engine, right? But they all have their little tweaks. And obviously, searching in Chinese language requires a very different technology than that of any other language. And Baidu were pioneers in the market, and I think they mastered it the best. They have very strong advertising teams, and it's about, I think, 600,000 marketing clients they have currently.
Yeah, so it's a biggie.
Like anything in China, every number is a big one.
Yeah. So perhaps more interesting than Baidu, as that has been around a long time, many people are familiar with it, is WeChat, which is a platform that is just growing like crazy in China, right?
Absolutely. I mean, WeChat is not your traditional instant messaging system that is WhatsApp or some other players. Actually, it's kind of a combination of a few things. It's a messaging app. It's a social media platform, very similar in ways to Facebook. Mm-hmm. And it is also could be used as a search engine now, but it would only search within its own universe, which is a big one because there's about, I think it's over 700 million logged in users, and 65% of them are active on a monthly basis. That's almost 500 million. And since this is mobile, we're talking potentially daily use.
So it's a hugely interesting platform, but something that's perhaps a bit daunting for advertisers from Western markets, where we don't have something similar. We're not really sure how we can use it and how users are, how people in China are actually using it. So what do they use it for apart from sending messages to people?
Well, as I said, it's a social media platform. So there's a part of the app that's called Moments, where you can post your photos, videos, status updates that can be seen to just your friends or to anyone. You can set that up. Except for that, it also has a built-in payment system, a mobile payment system called WeChat Wallet, which is widely used in China. You can pay for anything. I mean, not just traditional things like maybe airplane tickets or other travel expense. You can use it in pretty much every store. Yeah. Groceries, clothing, anything you can think of. It's accepted almost everywhere. Taxis. So that's another big one. And if we're talking about for businesses, it's a great platform to actually penetrate the market and reach huge amounts of users for different ways, which is, one of them is WeChat shops. Okay. So you can set up an e-commerce mini site, let's call it that, within the WeChat app. And if users search for something, or if it appears through advertisement, they can get into the shop, make a purchase, pay for it with the WeChat wallet, and have it delivered afterwards.
Wow.
So this is another big one.
So it's really going to change the way that businesses have to set up their whole kind of structure of structure of how they normally do business, their funnel that they normally expect users to go through, which might be see something on social media, go to the website, maybe go back to the website another time and buy it. It all happens in one place.
It all happens in one place, and what businesses do is they're tools to kind of mirror your actual website into your WeChat mini site.
Okay.
And so basically it's like the mobile version that we have in other countries. It's the same thing, but it goes straight into WeChat and you can open it there. It is fitted for the screen. It can have, animation, videos, music, anything you can think of for a regular website.
And that's one option in this shop if you're an e-commerce player. If you're not selling something online, if you're another kind of business, what are the other opportunities there to reach users?
Well, there is advertisement a little bit similar to that of Facebook, is that in the moments for every user, there is suggested advertisement from certain brands. I presume they study, just like Facebook does. They study your patterns, what you talk about, what websites you visit through
What
the
you
WeChat
buy.
universe, what you buy.
And I guess because
And
you
then
do
they
everything in
guess.
WeChat, they know everything
And
about you.
they know a lot about you. The amount of data they collect about you is enormous. I don't actually know how much of it they actually have, but my guess would be quite a bit.
Yeah. It must make putting the user journey together, it must make putting a complete profile of people together much better than it does when you're trying to do that across multiple platforms.
Absolutely,
and channels.
because all of it is within one platform.
So it's kind of like a hybrid of, sounds like it's kind of a hybrid of Twitter, Facebook, many of the different
Amazon.
apps. Amazon. Well, exactly, yeah, Google, the lot really. So
All of
what
it.
does that mean for other apps? Weibo, for example, was a hugely popular microblogging site in China. Is that still popular, or is it really the whole of China is about WeChat now?
Weibo still exists. The number of users is still quite large, but the main problem with Weibo is that separating actual users from bots.
Yeah.
And so advertisers, I think, put a bigger emphasis on WeChat because those are actual users, and you can put a number. So if you create even an information page within WeChat, you will see actual amount of page views right there on the spot, and the comments and so on and so forth. As opposed to in Weibo, you don't really know what is the exact amount.
So it's easier to really understand the kind of impact you're having and the results you're seeing in WeChat compared to, say, some of the other platforms.
Absolutely, it's just more accurate. So for advertisers, I'd say it makes more sense to kind of concentrate on WeChat.
So really now, as an advertiser targeting China, you can't be there and not utilize WeChat, not really. Or if you are, you're going to miss a huge
Exactly. If you're not doing it, you're missing out. And a lot of large Western businesses they already figured it out. They were already using it. We're talking car makers, luxury brands, clothing and apparel, footwear, anything you can think of. A lot of them are already there. The amount of advertisement is actually, let's say, not very offensive. It's maybe within, 5 or 6 scrolls down, you would see one.
So it's not saturating users in the way that perhaps
Absolutely,
Facebook
but I think it
started to
will
do.
come. I'd say it will come because Facebook also started like that. Eventually, there'll be more and more advertisement, and whether or not it's gonna have an impact on users, I think over time everyone gets used to things. Like people don't complain about Facebook advertisement now as much as they used to in the beginning. So I think for WeChat, it's only going to grow for advertisers and brands and so on.
And do you think that the impact of WeChat might be seen in other countries? So it's very much still a very Chinese brand, and it's targeted for that audience, and it's not really used elsewhere other than by Chinese people, maybe in other countries. Do you see more?
It is a little bit popular in some other countries. I think Brazil is one of them. WeChat is really trying hard right now to capture India, but the thing is that the way the platform is built was kind of tailored for the Chinese user. Yeah. So without actually tweaking it, maybe they won't have as much success in other markets. But then again, they have great resources. It is a great platform. It just whether or not it's going to work in other markets, I think it's too early to say.
But we've already seen a lot of kind of the social networks that we're used to here. So, Facebook adopting the Snapchat style stories and them they all take things from each other to try and improve and give users better experience. Do you think that the WeChat influence could come into some of the Western social networks to see how that's working? Or do you think because it's a Chinese focused focused network for that audience, it won't really have the same impact.
I think it will. It already kind of did. There's a Japanese messenger line that is very popular in both Japan and South Korea, and it has been also evolving in a similar style to that of WeChat. Now, how is it going to translate to messaging apps in the West? I think over time, certain features they should be adopted. They're actually pretty excellent, and they work well, and they kind of keep you in one place. So I'm sure instant messaging applications in the Western countries will definitely adopt, if not all, but definitely some of the features that WeChat already has today.
And then we're talking a lot there about, Western businesses and international businesses trying to get into China and the huge opportunity there. But what is the kind of perception in China about the rest of the world for Chinese businesses themselves? How interested are they in just capturing this huge market that they have at home, or how are they looking at other countries and which ones are interesting for them?
Well, I think for Chinese companies, foreign markets are definitely interesting. As you can see, for example, with the Russian market, in Russian e-commerce market, the Chinese businesses are very strong. They're advertising, they're opening online stores, they're perfecting their logistics, and they're getting a lot better. And obviously, Russian companies involved in this business also perfect their services to cater better to the Chinese businesses. So I think the process just for Russian market here is actually quite amazing. The growth is huge. Even if it slows down a little bit due to outside factors, like Russian economy or something like that, it's steady. It's steady and it keeps going, and we believe as a company and me personally that it's going to keep growing.
And I suppose that links back to the previous idea that as more Chinese businesses perhaps do business in other markets, some of the things that are being successful in those markets, such as WeChat and the way that they perceive certain things online, are more likely to filter through and
absolutely. Chinese business presence in all foreign markets is only growing and going to keep growing.
Great. Well, very interesting to talk to you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge about that.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.